And then I would just like have these moments constantly, and like it being tied in with the transness just like made it so much more confusing because I would constantly have these moments where I'm like, all right, I'm feeling pretty comfy in my identity. Like I think I know what I want. And then it just completely flip everything I feel.
Do you want to talk about DID at all, or do you want to avoid that topic?
Sure.
Like, what's your experience with that?
I guess like I always viewed it as like I just had really bad memory issues and identity issues and really vivid imaginary friends is how I always viewed it growing up. And like it just, I don't know, felt like more real over time, like more intense, I guess. And then I would just like have these moments constantly, and like it being tied in with the transness just like made it so much more confusing because I would constantly have these moments where I'm like, all right, I'm feeling pretty comfy in my identity. Like I think I know what I want. And then it just completely flip everything I feel, just like identity wise and like desires, the way I think just like would just completely flip. And I'd be like, why is literally everything different now? And then so started just like researching brain stuff, just like got really interested in like different brain stuff, then started learning about being plural. And I was like, huh, that's interesting thought, like all very, very relatable stuff I'm reading about here. And then the more I read about that, the more it started making sense. And then the more like I started asking myself, how split am I up here? And then that led into some real mental crises because I didn't know what was going on at all. And then that turned into separate identities. We all just like felt very vague about our identities before, but then we were like, okay, let's try really like figuring out how we each want to identify. And
Yeah.
so that's where the names and the sonas and stuff all came from. Was just like us figuring out who we wanted to be.
Yeah.
That makes
I'm
sense.
not.
I know that's not how
Okay.
most plural people describe it, but that's like, I've noticed it's like very different for everyone, and that's just like the description that makes the most sense for us.
Yeah. 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 Would you describe it more as like switching characters, or would you describe it more as like a council? Does that make sense?
Not switching characters, I wouldn't say, but council definitely sounds more right, because, yeah, we definitely have, like, meetings and stuff and, like, ask each other for advice.
Back to the community questions. What do people assume about you that is completely false?
There were a lot of assumptions being made about me during my D-trans bit recently. Well, they started as lies spread by one specific person, but I kind of addressed this already. People assumed I was like rich, had rich parents that paid for multiple surgeries. I've only had one surgery, and they helped a little bit, but I paid for the bulk of it. That's kind of it, I guess. People don't really make like crazy assumptions about me usually.
How did you start doing porn? You kind of touched on that already, but do you want to get into like more detail about that?
I've always been like, I guess, like really hypersexual. And so I guess it just like kind of made sense for me to get into. I tried my hand at building websites because that's what my brother does. And so I tried doing that. No one wanted to hire me. And then I tried just getting like a normal job. I applied to a Starbucks, a grocery store. I applied to be a janitor somewhere. I applied to a local candy store. No one would hire me. I think I just like, I don't know. I was probably too nervous during my interviews or whatever. But so like, even though porn was something I wanted to do, it was like really scary and all still last resort.
How do you derive meaning? That could either be for what you do professionally and or outside of that.
Like, out of like just in general. Okay, so my personal set of beliefs is that we are here to just like do our best. I think this is like some kind of maybe trial or test. I think we are celestial, immortal beings trying to experience mortality for whatever reason. That's what I believe.
Do you subscribe to like a religion, or is it more just like spiritual?
I grew up Christian, but now it's just like I don't have like a label for what my set of beliefs, I guess, just more spiritual. I've experienced what I've experienced, and I definitely believe in higher powers that intertwine us and the power of like mental energy. The power of our mental energy and our thoughts has a lot more weight on reality than science can currently read.
Yeah, and I vibe with that heavily.